Hi.
Hi, Kat and Erna show. Welcome, welcome. We're here. Your weekly dose of Kat and me, Erna, and hypnotherapy,
A lot.
spirituality, personal development, life, um, and more. If you have seen our videos before, and also if you haven't, this is a good moment to like, follow, subscribe, and
Yeah.
hit that
And then
bell
hit
for
that bell.
notifications. So, what are you
Do it all.
laughing?
Do it
Yes,
all.
do it all. Do it all.
Please.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed.
No,
I'm
I
telling
like
you.
when you're already doing it and having your finger on that mouse, you might as well just click
Click
where
on
you
it.
need to click. Just
Yeah.
remember the like button and the bell and the
It's
share
a
and
shame that
the
you can't do both, eh? Both thumbs.
yeah.
Thumbs up.
And then an important thing. Remember to watch and or listen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice if you watched and listened. That's
Mm,
also and you can even put comments down below.
yeah.
That would also be nice because we
Mm,
like some feedback. So,
mm.
what are we going to do today? Today, dear Cat, we are going to talk about our spiritual journey
We are
because we have opened up our group, Cat and Anna Go Spiritual.
on Facebook.
So, yeah, and then it's just logical that we talk about what is spirituality for us and how did we get there?
And that's a huge question.
Yes. So, do you want me to start or?
I want you to start, but first I want our listeners slash viewers to maybe sit down, pour yourself a cup of something, just relax and enjoy, and you might want to laugh.
You might want to laugh
Yeah,
this.
some things might be funny. See, you're already laughing. So yeah,
Yes,
I knew it would happen.
I'm in good spirits.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so my journey to spirituality is actually, I have always had this affinity with healing. So even as a young kid, I was always putting my hand on people, on animals, and I had this really strong communication skills with mainly horses and dogs. And it just grew. But when I was in my early teens, I sort of um, consciously started to heal people.
Mm.
Then that was my sister, my friends. When they had menstruation cramps, I would lay my hands on them. I would take the pain away and they would be fine. Whereas I was just knocked out for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, because you didn't know how to get rid of it.
Exactly. I
Okay.
just kept all the energy and it was somewhere and it just yeah knocked me out. And with sleep, it just went away.
But still, you did it,
Yeah,
even though you knew. Mm,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, because I thought that if I take it away, then they would feel better. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to help them feel better because it's horrible to have pain.
So you would rather remove their pain and
Yeah,
take it on you.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then, well, when I was, yeah, and it's also, you know, it's not that my mom stimulated it, but she definitely didn't hold me back, because she was actually going to an energy healer um, to get rid of some blockages, and I would go with her always.
Okay, so it's always been in your family in
Yeah,
some way.
yeah.
So it wasn't
My
like,
father, no, he is very down to earth and this is floating and rubbish. And
Mm.
but no, my mom was um always interested in healing, and I always found my mom always knew things, things that
So
she
did
couldn't
mine.
see, or she didn't do anything with it, but it's always been there. She is a pedicure, and she was really, really, really good. People just opened up to her, and yeah, she was actually healing them through her
Yeah.
hands maybe without even realizing what she was doing.
Yeah, as many hairdressers do as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm.
So I did have some sort of example especially with the hands thing. Um, but it just ate my energy. Um, then I started to do oracle cards.
Mm.
Well, I loved doing the readings. So it's been always something that I've been interested in or drawn to, and then came the time that I needed an energy healer myself. Um, Went to someone and he was like, "Why are you coming to me? And why don't you do this work? Why don't you work with people?" So I explained, and he was like, "Oh, child, you're doing it the wrong way because you're giving your energy, you're taking their energy, and you hold on to it." So it's like, okay, so teach me.
Yeah.
And he taught me how to manage my energy and to have a sort of a system to build on, and how to start healing people.
So just in a few minutes, half an hour, or did you
It
go
was an
several
hour
times?
that
Okay.
were for I can't remember how many sessions. It was over I think it was somewhat over a year or so that he taught me, and it was every other week.
Mm.
So
Wow.
because it was a lot of information to come in, and also I needed to just process it.
How old were you?
Late 20s,
Okay.
late 20s. And then I started working for a spiritual hotline, which was actually quite nice. But um, the people that were calling, and I don't say that everybody that calls a spiritual hotline is the same, but the people that came onto my path were basically were more the women that were married and had someone on the side that which one do you think I should choose?
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
You
So that
need
was
help with
not,
that then. Don't.
yeah, and that was not really what I wanted to do. I'm just more practical. I want to heal people. I want to help heal people, and not
Mm.
like petty questions. Not for the person that called, eh? But
Mm.
for me, it's like, why? Why do you want to talk to me about this? That's just
Yeah.
stupid. Go to a psychiatrist, or
Yeah.
you know.
You wanted this to be
So
bigger or deeper or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What was
So
the
yeah,
other
you
thing? Yes.
you're changing.
Mm.
So I stopped with the hotline, and actually in that time I wanted to start a practice, but I was so insecure, and then not having support from my then partner. It was easier to just stick with what I had.
Yeah.
Because that familiar thing, right?
See?
But spirituality has always been there inside of me. It's ingrained in me. I've always looked at cards and seeing the colors. So and then recently, no, actually because of that, of those kind of experiences, that I was a bit afraid to show or tell people that I'm a healer and that I can help people and that I'm spiritual. So there's been years that I every once in a while mentioned it to someone that I could see was interested or was spiritual themselves, but that was it. And yeah, it's just not working for me anymore. So
Boom.
now, yeah. Now that if people ask me, what do you do? The first thing I say is, I'm an energy healer.
Wow.
And then I'm a soul and confidence coach. And then I'm
Finally.
an RTT practitioner.
Finally.
So finally, I'm embracing it.
Yeah, it took you a
Because it's
while.
just, I find that it's just not working. Other things
Wow.
are not working for me. And then it's just a question, how often do I need to go into a burnout kind of thing or
Yeah.
feeling down,
For you to get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we first met, kind of 2 years ago,
No, more, 2.5 years ago, almost 3.
when we first met, almost 3 years ago, you mentioned it, but that was it because you were doing the RTT course.
Yes.
And then afterwards, finishing and building your business came up once in a while.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned that, I could see that your your face changed, not your change face, your face changed. That's the thing with swapping the words because it goes too fast.
Yeah.
Your face changed and your eyes sparkle and you just, I could tell that that was something that sparkled in you.
Yeah.
But then you pushed it aside again, and then it came up, and finally.
Finally. Yeah, I was, 3 years ago, I was so focused on, or almost 4 years ago, I was so focused on the hypnotherapy that I was like, okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. But it isn't. It is not good enough. It's a
It is
tool that,
good enough, but not for you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a tool for me to use.
yeah.
And yeah, for other people, it's
The
the
two.
thing.
Yeah,
It's their thing. But for me, healing and spirituality is the thing, and I can really use the tool hypnotherapy to get deeper and deeper.
yeah.
So how was it with you, your journey? Because you already started also 100 years ago, right?
100 years. Once upon a time, there
Once.
was a little girl named something else than what I'm named today. And fact. And
Yes.
as a young child, I can't remember that I knew anything about spirits or had an imaginary friend or something like that. But yet
That's
I
not
did. But
true.
yet I did. Yet I did. Yeah, I had a friend that I talked to going from school to my mom's work. That's true. But
But you didn't realize it as such.
no, I just imagined
Yeah.
that I had a friend, a boy who was older than me, um, following me to my mom's work. Probably because I was a little bit nervous and scared, so it felt safe. And then I've also always been into crystals and cards and pendulum and auras and chakras, and I know a lot about many things, but I'm more specific with others. Does that make sense? I know
Yes.
not a lot, but I do know of
Yeah.
many things, but I'm, yeah, because I've had many interests within the spiritual world. And then I think at some point I was afraid of doing the dishes, and you might think, yeah, she just didn't want to, but I was afraid of doing the dishes because when I looked into the spoon, it looked like I could see someone else, or if I looked at the thing where the water
glass or
comes out, then I thought I could see someone else other than me. But I didn't grow up in a spiritual family, so it was like I didn't talk to anyone about it or mention it. And when I
but then
did
it's
mention it,
scary, yeah.
yeah, and I did mention it for my mom, I guess, because her boyfriend knew that I was afraid of it, and he was like, whatever. So that didn't make me feel good. And then becoming older, my dad had a girlfriend, and I think she was the one introducing me to psychic readings, but in a forum, the one where the medium is on stage and
Yeah.
there's a crowd, there's a public, there's an audience. And I went somewhere with a guy called Frank Munke in Danielkirken, the Daniel Church, which was a spiritual church. And amongst all of the people, he also talked to me, and he told me that he could see that I had a bowl of crystals with a lid on it, and he also told me that he knew I had tarot cards, but I didn't need those because I could do it myself.
Whoa.
And I was like, wow, how did he know that? And oh, amazing. And that's what got me more curious. So
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of those thingies.
Kind of things.
Yeah,
Events.
events.
Kind of events.
That's a great word. And I've also had sittings. I'm saying it in plural. I think I've only had one where I did pay for it, and it was only him and me.
Yeah.
Which also was amazing. And he did also say things that I didn't really recognize, but it turned up later. Not as in within a week or something, but years later. And I was like,
Oh,
he mentioned that.
that guy mentioned that. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Like he could see me sitting sewing at a machine, and you do know that I do not do that.
No,
But
exactly.
I did have a period, maybe 15 years later, where I tried it out. Yeah. So then once I also heard, when I was about to go to sleep, I heard my name being called out loud, and everybody else was sleeping, and I was alone in my room, and it scared the beep out of me. So I jumped up and I turned on my television, and I put my
Your blanket. Your duvet. Yeah, your duvet.
On top of my ear. And this is how I slept for many years, because I was afraid of hearing things.
Yeah.
I do know today that doesn't change anything, because even though you close off all sound from the outside, you will still be able to hear it. And no, I do not have a mental disease. So
no,
that's not
indeed,
the reason.
but that's how it is.
Yeah. So I told them myself, because I didn't really understand. I think I was about 16, that I didn't want to hear anything. I didn't want to see anything. I didn't want to feel anything. I didn't want to blah, 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 because I was afraid. And I heard my name being said out loud 2 times. And then that was it.
It stopped. Yeah.
And then later on, I still had the curiosity towards crystals and cards and everything, but that was it. a lot of other experiences, but we don't have all day. Then my interest started to grow again. And I joined a Facebook group where things happened. I could say things to someone and it resonated with them and they thought it was about them. And then I went upstairs in my bedroom and opened a drawer.
Or yeah. Drawer.
And looked at a picture, and the thing I just described were the things in that picture, which was of my great grandmother, and I didn't even realize.
Wow.
And I found the money I needed to buy something in that group, and I didn't have the money. Going up there, finding that picture, I found some money that I didn't know I had.
Was there?
Yeah. So I
So
started.
how old were
practicing.
you then? In your 20s?
No, it was when 22. It was 6 years ago, so I was like
Okay.
37. So I thought, well, maybe I can figure out what to do. So I just wrote in some groups, hey, I'm practicing. I do not have the guts. I didn't write that, but I do not have the guts to do it online, like face to face on the phone. So we'll be texting.
Oh,
yeah, that felt safe, and it worked out quite well. Until one day, someone said, "Well, I wouldn't have paid for it," even though she started crying, and that I still have my list of things that I checked off. But then I stopped because I'm not good at it because she didn't.
she did, yeah. Oh, just by one person,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
but it's so, don't you think it's so fragile, that belief in yourself when it comes to spirituality and clairvoyance and
yeah, because I could just be imagining. I could just be using my amazing fantasy and creativity because I do have that.
yeah.
So that was also confusing because I still didn't know what's me, what's them, what's their energy, what's my energy, what's a message from spirits, what's just a message from the universe, what's what. And then some years followed with stress and work and family problems, and then it was just
sort of shoved to the side.
No, because
Oh,
around that time I was in my living room with a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, I'm going to do some 2 teens. My husband, a dog, and the television on. And then all of a sudden I could hear something in my ear again. And now I must have been like in my 30s, and last time I was about 16.
Yeah.
But it didn't scare me. And it was like a radio being turned on and off, and I could I went into the bathroom and I was like, I can't hear you. Can you say it again? And every time I spoke, nothing. And every time I stopped talking, I could hear someone talking again. And no, I'm not mentally, even though I'm kind of weird, kind of.
But was it called clear audience? Yeah.
Yeah. And then nothing after that. So I haven't been able to sense. I've had the squeaking sound from one ear to another, and every time I'm like, oh, it's coming. No,
yeah. At some point you get curious, eh? You want to know more.
Yeah. And then I had that period where nothing happened and nothing. And then a few years ago, there was a new, I don't know the word in English, but we have religions. We have Christianity, we have Islam, we have a lot of things. And for those to have support from the government in Denmark financially, you have to be approved as a society. So you can't just say, oh, I'm a pencilist and I want to be
create a
financially supported.
religion or
No.
thing. Yeah.
But there was this society who opened up and were approved by the government, which is spiritual. And when I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, I want to join that." And then there were courses and lectures and things, and then I got curious again, and now I'm on all of these courses, and I'm having, what's the word, Erna? Guinea pigs.
Yep, guinea pigs.
That I practice on for a small fee, which will increase soon because I am.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all about the energy exchange, huh?
yeah, it is. It is.
That's what I lacked. Even now, if I do stuff for free, there is an energy exchange. So it's not free.
Yeah, it's not like
And if you can create that,
want. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I think it's sometimes it's easy to take more from us than that is being given,
Yeah.
is
Also
being given.
to be sure that people do um, attend at the time, at the date
Yeah,
that we arranged, instead of me tuning in, me writing the messages down that I have before the session and preparing and stuff, and then just sit there and wait for no one. So
yeah,
if you
exactly.
have paid, I know that you're going to join.
Yeah,
And if not, it's your choice.
yeah, exactly. True.
But also, I worked somewhere where things were going on, and I saw this shadow walk by, and
Oh,
everyone working there knew that there were activity. Even the ones who didn't believe in it knew that there were things going on.
and
People
they didn't do
being
anything?
shoved in their chairs, and yes and no. We did have someone working there who said she could do something, but I don't actually think things would
Yeah.
be done. But it wasn't me. It was,
It was just benevolent walking around or
yeah, I didn't like going into the basement. And that's where the shadow was. And that's where the noises came from. It was kind of a handyman or something. But upstairs, it was at a kindergarten slash nursery.
yeah,
At the nursery, they could hear when when the children were sleeping in an area, a sleep area.
yeah.
My colleagues would sit at a table in another room, and they would hear someone crying, and they would go out there, and
And nobody.
all of
Oh,
them were sound asleep, and they
oh
could go back
shit.
in, and it would happen and happen and happen. And once I sat there on a break, which we usually didn't, but it was
For
occupied,
some
break
reason,
room,
yeah.
yeah. And I felt on my chair that I would be being pushed a bit. Children, kindergarten children, would say, "What's the guy doing in the playground?" Or, "Be careful that you don't judge the door on that lady's foot." And we did not talk about it in front of the kids.
Ah,
So
that is actually a shame, huh?
no,
Would
not
you
like
do it?
that. Not like that.
Ah,
If they
okay.
mentioned it, I would just be calm about it and say, "Oh, that man, I don't know, what's he wearing?" So I didn't diminish
Yeah.
him, but we didn't talk about our experiences amongst the kids,
Ah, okay,
so that
okay.
they would have been affected by it or
Yeah,
imagine things that they didn't really see because they did see it.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool. That is actually cool, huh?
yes. So it's been there always. That
Yes.
guy with the tarot and the crystals, he told me, that's why I mentioned the imaginary friend, and I forgot one. He told me when I was a young girl, he saw me sitting in my room with children who weren't there. So that's why I mentioned I can't remember myself, but and then
Yeah,
the boy Anas who walked me to my mom's
yeah.
work. Yeah. So that's me. Doing things that I can't help doing, but I've been also shoving away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And I think that we are now moving towards an era that these kind of things are very, very important, becoming more and more important for people. It's what is it? The Pisces era is gone. That was more
Yeah.
scientific and analytic, and now we're
And
going to,
empathic and also spiritual, actually. But
yeah,
we are moving
yeah,
forward,
absolutely.
which is my son.
Me too.
Yeah, and you too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. How can I forget? But
Yeah.
yeah,
But Aquarius is actually, why is Aquarius known for spirituality and another dimension, fifth dimension, or am I going to, should we leave that for another
if
meeting?
you go back, I've just read something about that in a huge 800-page book
Oh
about
my,
someone who has dug into spirituality, religious stuff.
yeah,
Really, yeah, you know. And if you go back to Jesus
yeah,
and you look at the pictures in churches and what's always with him, what's always drawn.
a fish.
Mm. And that's not the only place. I can't remember the other places, but it's always been a part of
Yeah,
the religions. And if you separate being religious and religions, then the fish is a part of being religious.
religious. Yeah,
Because when you separate the two, religion becomes more strict,
yeah.
becomes more orientated about this is what you can do, this is
This is
not
what you can't.
something you can do, you can't do that, you can only
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
But being religious is so much more. It's about the energy, it's about
yeah. True.
universal feelings, emotions, it's about all being one. And
Yeah.
religion's about, yeah, point is the fish is
Oh.
pictured, yeah. And I was like,
Aha.
so I think that's why,
That sounds pretty logical.
yeah.
Wow.
So there must be something about in that era, in that time, it was in that sign. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I don't know if the book has been translated, but if you feel like it, go have fun. It's really deep.
800
It's
pages.
really deep, but it's really, really good. He goes back to the 1200th century and the 18th, and he goes through what
Nice.
people have, what scientists has been looking into, and all of the religions, and
Yeah,
seeing that there is a mutual journey and knowledge and about God. That God is energy, that God is in you and in me
yeah,
and in the
yeah,
table
because
and
we
in
are
the grass.
divine, huh? Yeah,
Yeah, but everyone says it. He has quotes from, yeah, even religions I don't even know, where it's mentioned.
yeah,
So the religion part of it just takes what they want to use of it and make it their own.
yeah,
And
exactly.
don't come get me if you don't agree. It's okay if you don't agree. It's just
Yeah,
what I've read and what I think makes sense.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh, I agree with that. I
yeah,
agree with that.
it's just,
Yeah, because I don't see, I have been raised Protestant, um, but now I don't see myself as Protestant. I don't believe that way of practicing religion at all.
mm-mm.
But I do believe that we have a divine something, someone. the universe, the divine. I don't call it God, but there
No,
is something that we're all connected to.
I agree.
So, and that's different. And
Mm.
that, yes, that may also be some kind of faith of or belief but I think it transcends the religion that I was taught when
Mm.
I was younger.
Mm. I totally agree. My family weren't religious, but I went to a Protestant Catholic school because
Yeah,
my mom did and my aunt did, and it was private, and they believed that they had the best form of education.
yeah,
So that's why. But we went to church a lot, both in the Protestant church and the Catholic church. So at some point, I started believing in God, and you can talk about being manipulated or being having it you being fed with a spoon
yeah.
with it, but I don't believe manipulated in a negative way, but it
No,
was just what it
that's also
was.
what they. Yeah, exactly. It was like that.
Yeah, and so at some point I started believing that, oh, there is a God. Oh,
Yeah,
but I at that point I didn't believe in Jesus because I couldn't see how he could heal people, and I've been doing that as well as you did, and I got a headache, and then I
yeah,
stopped.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but but I didn't get it. And my mom said, "Well, you can't believe in God if you don't believe in Jesus," and the other way around. And I was like,
Ooh,
I
yeah,
don't, I don't get and Mary giving birth, and I didn't
yeah,
get
yeah.
it. But then I began being afraid, so I began praying
Looking.
every night,
Yeah,
um, and I still do. Um, but not because I am religious, but because I find that it's a good habit. And
yeah,
I find that it is a way of thanking for whatever I need to thank, and appreciating whatever it is that has made me possible, you possible, the earth, the
exactly.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then at some point I was like, I, I, I don't really think I do believe in God as we believe in God,
No,
but I
exactly.
do believe in something bigger.
Yeah,
Um, so I totally agree.
yeah, yeah. Me too. Me too. Been a long time already. I can't get the phrase that you are. We say you are God-fearing Christians.
Mm,
God-fearing Christians? If he's a good person, then you don't fear him. Then you're God-loving Christians.
yeah.
And that's not what I was taught, huh?
No, and that's to scare people so that they do what they're supposed to be
Yeah,
doing and
that's
don't.
that's what happened in the Middle Ages. They
Yeah,
scared people to go to hell
yeah,
just to and that was manipulation,
yeah.
just to keep them under control and to get gain for themselves. But that has nothing to do with religion
Exactly,
or
exactly.
being religious.
Yeah, and
That has to do with the creed of people.
hmm, which
Creed.
is why many people put certain cultures and religions in one box and say, if
Yeah,
you are Christian, you're like this. If you
yeah,
are a Muslim, you're like this.
yeah.
But who says so? If you're a
Exactly.
redhead, you have a temper. If you are obese, you must not be able to control yourself. Who says
Exactly.
so?
Yeah,
I don't like using the word hate, but I really
yeah.
dislike when people generalize. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, and put everybody in
yeah,
boxes. Oh, you fit in that box. And because that's safe. That is safe.
yeah.
Because then
And
they
we need
have a
to
picture in their
know,
mind. Oh,
yeah,
okay, so you're one of those.
you're like that. Oh,
Yeah.
you work at a nursery or in a kindergarten. Oh, you must be drinking a lot of coffee. If you knew how many
You must be
times
smoking. You must be smoking a lot.
I had heard You don't drink coffee? Oh, I don't like coffee, but you work at a kindergarten. They just don't get
Also,
it. Like,
but you work at a kindergarten.
yeah, so you must be drinking coffee and be smoking. But I've never been
Wow.
smoking, but why? It's like, come on.
Yeah. But it's safe, huh? It's something that people can either connect with or banish because
Mm.
they connect with the group that doesn't have that strange
Yeah, and then
thing.
they don't need to spend so much time figuring out what kind of person I am, because if they already know I'm a smoker and I drink coffee, then I must, because people who drink coffee are like, then they could just, instead of
Yeah,
spending time getting to know me for me
yeah.
and the Muslim lady for her instead of her scarf. Oh, this is huge. We've had a talk about this at home today as well. So I'm like,
Ah, okay.
mm.
Yeah. So how did we get here from from
We got
our
here
spiritual journey to
from
this? Well, it's
something about
actually it
being
is
really the
interconnected,
fish,
right?
the fish.
Oh yeah, the fish. Yes. Oh yeah, the Pisces era that
Yeah.
now is Aquarius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay then. But that's what I
So
love when we do this. We just, and then
go
we take a
everywhere. And
nod
then
and
still
then
there's this thread that
yeah.
goes ah
Yeah. So if you can
nice.
keep up, great. If you can't, just go back.
Watch it again.
Yeah. Until you get it.
You
And
can
if
do
you
that.
still don't, then fine.
You can do that.
We like you anyway.
Or at least stay tuned because we will be doing more of this in the future, I think, because we are going spiritual. So
Yes.
expect this, right?
I'm keeping my mouth shut so that I won't go on a rant again. So I'm not saying anything.
No, this we'll leave it at this, and the rest we'll save for next time.
Yeah,
Agree?
I do agree
So, with that, we
with that.
thank you very much for watching and listening to us. And again, yes, like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, get the
That was a bill.
notifications. If there is a subject that you want us to talk about, to research, or if you have a story that you want to
Yeah,
share on our platform, then please be our guest and let us know in the comments or reach out to either one of us and we'll get back to you.
I will. Promise.
Thank you for listening, watching, as I said, and we'll be back next week with more of this.
Lots.